cards for 7 days. And our week we're focusing on begins with March 6th and goes up to March 12th. During this time, we'll have a full moon in Virgo, and we actually start the week in Virgo. Our full moon occurs on Tuesday, and Monday, of course, begins us with the Virgo moon energy, which is very good for details, getting things done, things that require discrimination, as in making choices, analyzing things, purifying things, arranging things. Virgo's good energy for all of that. And then we'll be ending next Sunday with Scorpio, and that's all, of course, about the intensity. It's a very psychic sign. Lots of intuition with that one, sort of knowing without knowing how you know kind of thing. As always, take here what works for you, what resonates, what seems to ring true. Keep developing your intuition that way, and then just leave the rest behind. It is a general reading. And I'm also introducing a new deck. This is a Buddhist tarot, and it uses different symbol systems, obviously. You can imagine that. So I'll do my best to describe those. I'm thoroughly enjoying using this deck. Dear friend and I picked it up in India years ago, and frankly I was intimidated by it because it was a lot to learn. So I remembered I had it again and got it out, and have just been delighted with using it. So I hope to share that delight with you today. We start this week with the Five of Lotuses, and in this system, lotuses are wands, so it's like saying the Five of Wands. As a general theme for this week, I feel like this card introduces it pretty well, because we have several fives, and we end on a big note, and then all the cards this time are masculine, meaning they're coming from the swords and the wands. So that's a pretty intense week, you know, with that very earthy, feminine Virgo moon there in the middle. But you know, to me, the Virgo energy is a strong one. Not to mess with that. They know what they're doing, and they can hold their own. So I feel like our Virgo goddess in our early start of the week is also helping us balance some of this, you know, very intense masculine energy this week. Then I did draw also a card from the what are they called? The crystal deck too, and that softens things a bit at the end as well. So on our Monday, March 6th, what is this card about? The fives are all connected to the Hierophant, and you know, that is a card that symbolizes, or can anyway, among other things, human authority, spiritual teaching, people who are spiritual leaders, things like that. But it's also these tests of humanity. And you know, so all the fives, the minors, are representative of those tests. And this one is about, in a way, getting into an argument. It's more of an energetic thing. It might not even necessarily be all that verbal, but there are 5 different things competing, perhaps. You might have a lot of things that you need to do and aren't sure where to start, how to prioritize. That's where that Virgo moon can really help you on Monday and Tuesday. So kind of getting a grip, you know, the wands will have that energy, that intensity, that instinctual energy where, you know, the hairs kind of stand up. So listen to it, but also try to be somewhat mellow with it, knowing it will pass. And on Tuesday, we get the 10 of what they call the double Vajras here. And those are representative in a way of like the thunderbolts, you know, that a god might carry, you know, specific ones. So, and this, though, when you have the two together, they represent cups, or they take the place in the tradition of tarot decks. What would be cups becomes these double vajras. So the Ten of Cups is overflowing with happiness, strong emotion, family connections, things like that. To me, those are all very positive aspects of the card. If you get a little bit into the shadow side, that might be more a lot of emotion, more than you are, comfortable with. So maybe you can try to see them as watercolors. How do those watercolors filter through our systems? They don't last. They will pass. And hopefully it's on the really nice, pleasant side. By Wednesday, we are back to the swords. And that's right, I forgot. We did get one feminine card, the Ten of Cups this week, but that was it. By Wednesday, we are back to a masculine card. The Vajras is swords in this case, and a new clarity. How can we see things in a different way? And often, when there is that emotional release, that can occur also in a full moon. We can see things more clearly. There's a good reason to cry. There's a good reason to let things go. It actually chemically helps cleanse our bodies, cleanses our auras, things like that, so that we can see clearly afterwards. When we get to Thursday, we are back to the lotuses. So again, the wands, and this one is the Four of Wands, and I don't know if you can see that very well. I realize these are fairly small cards, but you do have a couple. And it looks like they're coupling, frankly, at the bottom. So this card often is associated with celebration, even marriage, commitment, things like that. So 4 is the earth number. It's very strong, very stable. And again, a wand-like energy, so a fiery energy, and arranged in a very stable pattern, as you can see here, and, protecting this couple. So it can be a gateway for a new relationship with yourself, being excited about a new project, something like that. When Friday comes around, we have the element, and this is what they call the animal of the Vajra. So we're back to the swords, and this would be akin to the Knight of Swords or the Prince of Swords, depending on which deck you might be using. Here, of course, you can see the elephant standing on the 2 legs, so reared a bit there. The elephant in this case, pretty similar to Western symbolism, stands for wisdom, memory, and power. So it's a bit of a different read on the Prince or Knight of Swords, which can be a very severing kind of energy, can rushing in, make quick decisions, cut ties, things like that. But I feel a very different energy with this one. I feel like the wisdom is here. It's important, and we see it very much embodied in this big elephant. So that's the end of our Monday through Friday. When we come to our weekend, we are also with the swords and back to a 5. This is a fairly challenging card, I think. In the Thoth deck, it is labeled defeat. It's minor, because it's in one of the minor suits, and it will. So that means it will pass. Again, connected to the Hierophant. So it's a spiritual lesson, something that we all go through. And how are we defeated? And to me, that means being knocked off your feet. You don't feel right. You feel like you've been undercut somehow. You had a vision of how something was going, and then it is not working out at the moment. So here you have a kind of physician speaking with someone else, trying to do a sort of healing. At least that's the way that I read it. And I feel that is trying to find your positive beliefs again. In the next card, which would be the six, of course, there's much more of an energy of leaving troubled waters, going away from the difficult things, or at least seeing them much more clearly. And I think that that is very much indicated by these two people talking below. So whatever comes up on that Saturday that might feel a bit defeating, knocking you off your center, see if you can look at it with new, fresh eyes. With perhaps even that Scorpio energy, what does your intuition say about it? And can you make something positive? Can you ask for the help you need rather than feeling defeated? And often that is just a different perspective, a different point of view. So the one major we got for this week is the Tower. I think I tried to hint at, it was kind of a doozy. The Tower is big change. It can express itself rather quietly, or it can express itself in a much more intense, outwardly dramatic way. So hopefully you have a little bit of control there, that you can find ways to deal with that energy and make it perhaps more of a little quieter revolution within, rather than excuse me, see, there's some Tower energy right there, had to sneeze it out. Rather than letting it stew in you, that you find a way to express that feels good, to realize that change, letting go, things transforming, it's just a natural part. It keeps us from being stuck, rigid, fixated on things, and helps us refresh. That Tower can come down and we can see things from, again, a new perspective. We can feel in a different way. So it can be very much seen as liberation. And the card after it is the Star in the majors. And on the spiritual journey, which the majors represent, that is an indication of a new vision. How can you see things from a more spiritual perspective, with clearer eyes, from a higher advantage point? All right, so that's our week. A little challenging with all of that masculine energy. Not that masculine energy is naturally challenging, but these cards are a bit challenging. Except for that Ten of Cups. I mean, that's that one really soft, emotional place of the week. The others have some nice, attributes, but then again, a few challenges, as I mentioned. Because there's only one major, that could also indicate a week of new beginnings, and I feel like with that Ace of Swords or the Ace of Vajra, that's another indication for that. So I hope that helps you. To finish off, we have citrine. I love citrine. I think it's a beautiful stone. And the card represents unnecessary worries and releasing those. So the short version is release the burden of worries by giving them to Spirit for healing and solutions. Spirit, God, Source, Mother, Father, God, whatever works for you to represent that higher power, use that language. So what does our little book say about citrine from the Crystal Angels? Have you been worrying, dear one? This card comes to you as a sign of needless worry, which Spirit and your guardian angels are helping you release. And I feel, again, that connects back to those fives. And, one of the fives is labeled worry. That's the Five of Discs, at least by some, tarot creators. So good work to release that this week. So chronic worry can be draining and debilitating to physical, mental, and emotional health. I think we all know that. It can create and attract self-fulfilling prophecies It can distract us from priorities. It can cause us to second guess our qualifications to fulfill our life purpose. So that's why Spirit and our guardian angels are lifting these burdens from our minds, hearts, and bodies. They first remind us that all worry is centered in thoughts about the future. That's a tough one because we have to navigate that territory. Yet it's hard. Where our power is in the present. So with your attention fixed on what's ahead, it is difficult to focus on the present moment. We're guided to notice this present moment, such as how our body feels right now. For example, notice your feet, wiggle your toes, notice your muscles, breathe to relax tension, notice your heartbeat and breath rate, and hold the intention for them to relax. And that is something I also teach when I teach yoga, and particularly trauma yoga. When we start to float away, when we start to have, anxious, racing thoughts, ground. Where are you? What do you smell, see, hear, taste, touch? And really locate through the five senses where your body is right now. So hopefully that helps, and there's a little bit of advice here too. Again, I mentioned this a bit earlier. Rather than focusing on problems, ask Spirit to help you. So you could say, I'm worried about my health, or you could say, Spirit, please help me with my health. And already that feels better. At least it does to me, and I hope to you as well. So, beloveds, please consider sharing, liking, subscribing. That would be so helpful to the channel. I welcome you all here, whether you've been here before or you are new. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. If you're interested in a personal reading, you can find information at the end of this video and in the description box below. You can email me at tarotwithtanya@gmail.com or check out my website www.tarotwithtanya.net. Take care all, and I will see you next week.